Hey, hey, my beautiful peeps, locking down the truth.
With Gavin and
Bali love, and Marci lock, and she loves me. So I've had so many people want to know the whole story of the whole Bali love experience, and there's actually several truths and nuggets to creating, to manifesting, to getting what you want. So many things that I got to experience through that journey that I wanted to share. And truthfully, I was like, I get to wait until I get home and she's actually in the country before I get to go through this stuff. So this cute little dog that we decided was our dog, the kind of experiences of it was that in the villa that I was staying at, there was 2 days that she walked through the villa, and you could tell she was just starving, but super skittish about people. Over there, a lot of times they treat their animals, there's people that have dogs, but there's a lot of like just annoyed with dogs, kicking dogs, shooing them away, and so could understand why she was really skittish of people. So the third day that she came through our villa, I was teaching my mastermind. I was sitting on the porch and just teaching my mastermind, and she ended up sitting about 2 feet away from me and sat there for like an hour and a half straight. And so we now kind of have this joke that apparently I break through the bullshit with all species, because she dropped her guard and was willing to receive, and she inched her way up to me, and I got to pick her up and hold her for the rest of my mastermind. Well, after we were done, recognized that there were some bumps on her and realized they were ticks. So we spent about 2 to 3 hours literally just holding her, Dallas and I, and pulling about, I don't know, 50, maybe 30 to 50 ticks off of her, and was able to feed her, and then she took off and left, and you know, was like, I'm done with you. So she's a puppy, she wants to play. So the next day she came back and let me, and so we named her Bali Love. We're like, yeah, she's totally Bali Love. For whatever reason that just came to mind, we're like, she's Bali Love. She came and got a little bit of loving, and we let her do her thing. Well, she came back and we were able to wash her and feed her, and she's got, do you want to show them the hearts? Where's her hearts?
she has a heart. Oh, ow, ow. Come here, Bella.
She's got a heart on her shoulder. Can you see that? A black heart. She's got, come Bali baby. She's got a heart on her nose, the top of her nose right there. I know, you want to play. She's got, and actually my client that was with me the other day noticed she's got a heart on the inside of her arm. I don't know that you can see right there. She's got a gray heart there too. Okay, you let her. Where's the chew toy? Instead of me being the chew toy. Okay, so anyways, it was interesting. We're like, we named her Bali Love. We cleaned her off and saw these hearts on her. We found out, I think the next day, that she's the Bali breed, the dog, the Bali breed, and that is actually going extinct in Bali. So she became my little Bali baby. And the funny part to this is that when I first got to Bali, you know, we'd go do stuff, and these little beautiful babies, these little girls would come running up to me and just want to sell me bracelets and things, and I was like, oh, the Bali babies, I love the Bali babies, I want a Bali baby. And so I went to the bank and just got a ton of money out to just be able to hand them money, because I just love the Bali babies. And so of course I manifested. You can see the power of your words. I manifested and got a Bali baby that I brought home with me. So my boys have been manifesting and wanting a dog. And I've been like, it's like another child for me, because I travel and play and do all my retreats all over the world, and thought it'd be one more thing to take care of. And so she's a pretty powerful little manifester that she decided to show up in our space and get to be brought home from another country. So I want to share with you just a couple things that showed up and the truths and the nuggets behind this. This might be a little bit long. So when I started going, cool, you know what, it's interesting, I love this little thing, like, she grew on me, obviously, and my boys have been manifesting and wanting a dog. It was actually this, like, one of the FaceTimes that when I had her, I'm like, okay, cool, well, I'm curious to see if I can bring her home. That was my intention. And not being attached or have an expectation is one of the truth nuggets you get to understand, is where it's like, cool, this is my intention, now I put my head down and go, what's next step, what feels good? So we started looking into, what would be the possibilities, and finding out, like, all this feedback came running back that was like, it doesn't happen, it's a 4 to 6 month process, it costs like 20 grand, there's a lot of illegal trafficking, you cannot get a dog out of Bali specifically because there's scabies and all these other things and concerns. And so it's like, interesting, what else could we try, what else is possible? And just kind of holding the intention that, yeah, I think I'd love to take her home if we can create this. And my boys, actually, we got on a FaceTime, and Skylar, my oldest, was like, Mom, I really want you to hear my intention. I really want a dog. I'm really ready for a dog. And I was holding her, literally, that he couldn't see, yet keeping it still a surprise, not even sure if I'd get to bring her out of the country, and just being like, I know, baby, like, first thing we get to do is we're creating our beach house. So long story short, comes down to 5 days before I'm leaving Bali, and we finally found this vet who was like an hour and a half drive away and said, yes, you know, you can talk about, I know how to get the dog out of the country, and that could be seen, hold on to her just because she doesn't have her stuff on her, and that, you know, we could get everything taken care of her. I'm at this point going, okay, you know what, I don't know that I'm you know, ready to spend or wanting to spend 20 grand on a dog. I might get to just love on her, get her taken care of, and make sure she gets a good home. And I'm still open to, like, cool, what else can we try, what else do we could do, what are the possibilities to get this intention that I want. So we took her to the vet, and literally, this is 5 days before I'm leaving the country. She says, I keep her tomorrow. I fly to Jakarta. 4 days she's in quarantine. She has to be in quarantine for 4 days. I get all shots, everything, all paperwork done. You fly to this city to go through this airline. Meet me. I take you to the airport. And, you know, basically with papers and you, I say, it's emergency, I'm doctor, here's papers, it's legal, you leave with dog. Like, wow. Okay, so even the fact that this doctor was willing, the night that we brought her to go, I'd have to take her tomorrow, and willing to do that in the schedule. She'd done this for the president of Africa 2 months before, so knew how to create this and go about this legally. And the dog has to be at least 4 months old. So what's interesting, they guess she's exactly about 4 months old. I get her microchip done, they bring me back the paperwork, and they decided that her birthday was what, Gavin?
I forgot.
Okay, okay, it was Valentine's Day. They put her birthday, they guessed her birthday as Valentine's Day, and I don't think they celebrate Valentine's Day over there. So they put her birthday as February 14th. So we're like, here we got Bali love, all these hearts and loving all over her. Her birthday's Valentine's Day. She's exactly 4 months old, which we couldn't have taken her out of the country if she wasn't. So it literally in the long run cost me $500 in American to get her shots, get her paperwork, pay for the doctor's flights. It did cost me $5 grand to change my tickets last minute and go through a different airline and go to the city that was how we'd get to do it. So this is my point. There's a couple things to this, is that as things, I could have gone, well, it's not showing up perfectly, it won't work out that way. When you're setting up that intention and it's like leaning into what's next, you get to also ask, well, what do I get to do? How can I flow with this? What else can I create? So I'm like, cool, I get to let go of my old tickets that I paid for. I get to, you know, let go of certain things, and what do I get to do to allow this to work and come together? So when we get to the airport, we have 4.5 hours. The story doesn't end here. We have 4.5 hours to till our flight leaves. And we get there and we meet the doctor and we go up to the ticket counter to get everything finalized, and they're like, no, can't leave with the dog. Apparently the vet hadn't, within enough time frame, made the request that we were going to have the dog there, and it would have to get requested through all the other airlines as well that we were going to be taking. And so they're like, we're like, okay, cool. What else is possible? How can you guys assist us? You know, what else can we do? You know, and just being vulnerable and saying, you know, this is what we've come to. This is what we're working towards. We've done all this effort to put into it. Can you guys assist us? What else can we do? And it was amazing to see this whole team come together and be like, okay, let's get on this. And they contacted all the airlines, did everything they could. 3.5 hours later, this is 30 minutes before our flight boards, they get a yes on all sides. And we're like, awesome, we're good to go. We go with the doctor, say bye, we give her lots of loves and kisses. We go to immigration and find out, because we had to change our flights, we are now like a half day past, or a day past our visa expiration. And they're like, you can't leave the country. You're in content. And they wanted to hold us basically in content in immigration. And we tell them the story and like, hey, listen, you know, this is what, you know, our flight leaves, this is what, you know, we've gone through to be able to do this. What else is possible? And they're like, well, you know what, we'll just let you pay the penalties, but you got to pay them in cash. Well, I had taken out all the money I could get access to, because over there in the ATMs you can only get so much through the ATM per day. I'd taken out everything I could to be able to pay the doctor for the dog. And so they're like, sorry, you cannot leave the country, you're gonna have to figure it out. And so we go back out to the ticket counter, and we're just doing anything we can to be like, can we pay a card here, and can then you guys give us cash and everything? And they're like, nope, 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 nope. So I tune in, I'm like, you know what I feel is we just get to ask the doctor for it. And so I had to we messaged the doctor and said, hey, is there any way, please, can you come back? Can we have some back of that cash? And, you know, I'm like, I promise I'll get my team to transfer the rest of the money. And she's like, I'm 20 minutes away on a bus already. I'd get to get off, get another bus, get back to the airport 20 minutes away. She's trying to play with me, by me. So, anyways, I'm like, cool. We just get to, that's what it came down to. I'm literally, plane is boarding. We're still at the front ticket counter, haven't gone through immigration, haven't gone through security or done anything else. And it's just like, I just literally was like, I get to just surrender. So this is the point being, like, my energy being like, you know, I know this. This is what I hope you hear me really say. Whatever happens, I know is for my greatest good. Whatever shows up, I know is literally giving me whatever I'm supposed to receive. So when you think shit happens and stuff happens to block you from something, it's literally because there's something greater for you. So if I knew, you know what? I was like, I get to surrender. She's on her way. We'll do the best we can. She'll get here if, you know, and we'll do everything we can to make this flight. If I get to choose another flight and do something different, I know it was for the greatest good. I know I'm meant to stay another day here, whether it be to connect with another person or have something else for me. Whatever I experience, I know is for the greatest good. So I simply was just like in surrender energy, like, cool, let's see what shows up. We're sitting there. Dallas had run out of security to be able to meet the doctor faster and run through, because there's one set of security and another set of security. And I'm just sitting there with the dog, petting the dog, like we were singing and we were playing and people were coming by and little kids and wanting to pet her, and we're just in this happy energy. So the energy is whatever, like there's no story or lack or scarcity. It's whatever I'm in right now is perfect. And staying in that energy that says, you know, I know that everything works out for me. This is the relationship I have with the universe. It's like literally my lover. It wants to just allow me to win and wants to make love to me. So I'm like, I know whatever you bring to me is perfect. I can only keep going. What else can I do? What else can I try? What feels good? And being able to take that inspiration and take action on that inspiration, just like we were doing all along the way to find out these things about the dog and how we found the vet, and everything was divine pulled together for us to be able to take each step and to receive each step and to have the next. So then after that, is that our, oh, there's my babes, there's my other babes, my green hair babes. So I was sharing the story of Bali, because everybody's wanting to know the story of Bali. So, where am I? So anyways, what happens, what does happen is we found a lizard. There was a lizard back there too. Squirrel, see how, I'm back, is it back there? We found a lizard friend, guys, look. We never knew that we had a lizard. Oh, there he is. I had so many lizards with me in Bali. I named them all. I'm like, there's Fred, there's George, so it's all good. Now apparently we get to attract more lizards. So when she did show up, we go running to immigration, pay the cash, and then we go running through to, you know, security, to the ticket counter. It's amazing what showed up. This guy that was supposed to check everything for the dog literally was like, come on, it's cool, and just walked with us to the gate. He's like, I'm just going to check everything when we get you there. And we got there just as, like, people were loading, and even the flight had ended up being late, so that it allowed us to make our flight. See, everything's showing up perfectly. But if we got into, oh, no, we can't do this, and, you know, this happens, instead of staying calm, like, okay, interesting. Well, what can we do? What is possible? And surrendering to that. So one last part of this is that, so we catch the flight. This was like a 12, 13-hour flight, all a new experience, flying with a Bali baby dog. I had two beautiful kites that I brought home for my boys too that we had to be really fragile with. It was awesome. And we get to Istanbul, which we fly into. And then same thing with Istanbul, we find out that we were going to leave the airport to go to a hotel. We had like a 10-hour layover that would accept dogs. We find out, you're so cute. Look at you. we find out that to leave the airport, we have to get a visa. And again, they'll only do those in cash. And it hadn't even been 24 hours. It was like a 12, 13-hour flight. It hadn't even been 24 hours that I could pull more money out of the ATM. And literally, instead of freak out, I'm like, okay, cool. What can we do? What else is possible? We're thinking about all these other ways that we could, you know, go use the card or find, you know, or I'm trying to get a hold of my assistant or other ways that we could create money to do that. And all of a sudden, it's like, so this is my point about choosing the perception of what's in front of you and what you get to happen. And as part of the surrender, I was like, what I tuned into, I was like, you know what? Something is saying if you leave this airport, you're going to run into all sorts of issues again, because if we left the airport, we'd get to go through customs again with the dog. We'd have issues every single time. We had issues with customs and our bags and having to pay cash and all this stuff. That was like, you know what? It's telling you there's resistance here to say, you know, go this way. The resistance was like, don't leave the airport. So I was like, you know what? We just get to stay here. Because what we're feeling is if we leave, we're going to run into more issues. The universe wants me to win. So I didn't see it as like, oh my gosh. So here I'm like, I create millions of dollars, and yet I get to like sleep on the floor and on the chairs in the Istanbul airport and chill for 10 hours so we can leave. Again, surrendering to the beautiful process of it and the experience of it and going, cool, I'm so grateful that the universe always supports me and everything is lined up to say, this is the direction you get to go. So then we jumped on our flight, came home, and I got to meet my boys at we had my nanny come to LA so I could actually, you know, otherwise I would have gotten home and they would have been in bed. My nanny came to LA and with the boys, and where did she take you guys?
She took us to LA.
She took you guys to a dog park. And you were like, why are we at a dog park? And they're like, oh, we didn't know that this was a dog park. We just thought that this was a park. And so
we went to the dog park and we just didn't know what to do there. We're like, why are we here?
Yeah. And it was
we
already...
don't have a dog. And it was funny because that whole day I was thinking of a dog. I was like, I spilled something on the kitchen floor. And I was like, ah, dang it, this is why I need a dog.
Yeah.
And I kept thinking about it.
Yeah.
So, like, the whole time we're just playing.
Yeah. And didn't you create a presentation for me for when I got home for you?
Yeah, I got on my computer. I'm, like, getting it ready. I was going to get this presentation up about why I deserve a dog like most kids in movies do. They're like, this is why I get a dog. Yeah. I'll take it out. But
yeah, awesome. See, so the power of manifesting and what showed up, what came perfectly into my space, exactly what we were supposed to have. Here, you want to take her? Awesome. She's currently on me. God.
She's hyper right now.
She just wants to play.
Hyper.
So there you go. My boys were even really manifesting, and hence everything got to work out. So we ended up surprising the boys with the dog, and we've had beautiful Bali love with us ever since that we're learning to go through all this puppy training and everything else with. So that's the story of Bali love. And my point being, there's a couple the truth nuggets I just really want you to line to and understand is the power of surrender. The power of set an intention, and instead of being like, oh, I have to know how it's all going to work out, blah, 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 and having an expectation, it's, okay, this is like when I was that $2 an hour waitress, you know, with 2 little boys to feed that weren't even 1 and 4 years old, and I was like, all right, I'm going to an epic life. I'm going there. But if I had to know how it all looked and how, I would have never known, and I would have never seen this. When you just are in this, like, you know what, I put my head down, what's the next step? And when the resistance comes up, oh, what can be possible, and what else do I get to do? And you surrender. The surrender is huge, and allow what's there to show up, that you can move through what the options are to get the next step and the next step and the next step. If you don't take a step, you don't get the next step. My boys are awesome. Love you guys. Anything else you want to say about Bali Love and awesomeness?
She's going to be an awesome dog.
Get green hair.
Because she's going to... Yeah, I'm going to dye her whole head green, and she's going to be just perfect.
Awesome. She is perfect. All right. Love you guys.
My favorite dog.
Power of choice is yours. Choose your best life. Lock it down.